This next video is all about opening channels of communication. So again, you have really prepped your body and your mind and your energy for this work. So I believe that it's going to be extra potent and powerful for you. This can be done in a meditation. It can be done in a journal. So your automatic writing exercises from week 1 were also a really powerful exercise in getting ready for this type of writing or this type of communication. My favorite way to do this is simply by being in different positions. So this will help make more sense in a moment, but just as a reminder as we go through it, there's the positions, the actual body movements you can do to open the channels. There is writing, or you can do it in a meditation. So first you have to figure out, what am I communicating with? And it's up to you. So you could communicate with something that feels challenging in your life, like money or like a relationship. Or you could communicate to an aspect of yourself. So if you do that, like an archetype we talked about in, I believe, module 2, we can allow ourselves to communicate to that part of our being. So you could, the archetypes I speak of, for example, the medicine woman, or your inner intuitive witch, or Caroline Myss talks about the 4 main archetypes that we all have, which are the victim, the child, the prostitute, and the saboteur. And we all have these different aspects of our own being, and we can communicate with those aspects of ourselves. Or it doesn't have to be anything anyone else told you. It could just be a part of you gave a name to, like fearful Freddie within Sarah, or it could be this sassy Sarah, or it could be bitchy Betty. It can be any part of you that you want to communicate with. It can be external. I like to do this with the soul consciousness or energy of a program that I'm putting together, like Rise 2.0. And so I could communicate with the energy of that program. It does not have to be something that can actually talk, like money. Money doesn't actually talk to us, but it has an energy and an energetic frequency to it. It could be to a person you do know. And when we do this, though, you are communicating with the higher self of that person in this exercise. So I do want you to be aware of that versus their more like conscious 3D self. You could do this with a past loved one if you would like. And the sky's kind of the limit. So I want you to think about how this relates best to what you're working on in your life right now, and then consider, well, if I were to open up this channel of communication, who or what thing would I want to open this channel up with? So let's use the energy of a program, for example. I tend to use money a lot, and I'm trying to give other examples other than just money, but money is such a interesting and intricate thing in all of our lives, because the relationship with money usually ends up showing us way more about ourselves than just this piece of paper. So let's use the energy of a program. And the first way I said that we could do this is through positions, and that again is my favorite way. So I would sit in any position and anywhere in any room, but just pick a spot to sit. So I'm just going to choose right here, facing more this way. And so because you've worked on intuitive mastery, and because you've worked on opening and clearing your channel, now we're going to see what comes through that channel. So you can imagine right in front of you the energy of the thing you chose. So I'm going to choose the energy of a program. I would want to be more specific and say what program it is, but I'm going to stay vague for now for the purpose of explanation. And I would consider, what do I want to say to it? I want to say to it, what is the format you want to be in? What is the format that you want to take? What is the price point that you want to be at? What needs to be included? I have so many questions around the details of what this program is even going to be. So I would ask that. And I would just pause when I felt like I was done. And then I would change positions, and I would go over to another position, probably facing the one that I was just in, if you're having a conversation that faces each other. And so now I'm embodying and opening up the channel to receive. I'm not speaking from Sarah anymore. I'm speaking from the energy of this program. If you've done any business coaching with me, you know that I also teach that each of the programs in your business as a whole has its own soul's consciousness, its own soul, its own energy that you can always be tapping into and communicating with. Yes, your energy impacts it, but it's not all of it. So now here I am, and you can close your eyes for a few moments to tap in, but you're just embodying the energy of, in this case, a program or money or an old relationship or an aspect of yourself. And then I would start to respond to Sarah. I would start to respond to myself. And you can do this all inside your head. You don't have to be talking to an imaginary person or thing, right? But you're welcome to if that's more easy for you to verbally express. Otherwise, you can just be thinking in your mind what this would be saying to you. So it might be saying, okay, I need to be at least 6 weeks long and I need to be at least $600. And here's the deal, Sarah. You need to drop into meditation and I need you to channel and open yourself up to the specific things that need to be said for this program. Oh, okay, that's interesting. And so then I would probably go back, because I have more questions now, and I would go back to be Sarah Small, and I would say, thank you. And then I would follow up and I would have this conversation, say what I need to say, and I'd go back and then I would embody the energy of the thing that I was communicating with, in this case, program. And I would respond back. When I feel like everything had kind of been said, at least for now, because you can always go back later, then you're going to find a third position. And so in this case, in order to stay on the video, I'll just kind of like back up and imagine as if those two energies were kind of in front of me, and now I'm taking the observer role. And from this observer role, now I am just tuning into more of the non-attached, non-biased, non-emotional perspective, this bird's eye view of everything that was just communicated, everything that just happened. And from this ending point, this observer role, I would just ask, what are the main takeaways or main learnings from this exchange in this opening of communication, this opening of channeled messages today? What are the main takeaways or main learnings to be gathered here right now? And so I would just close my eyes and I would feel into it. And this is where I do typically jot some things down, and I write down, what are the main takeaways here, X, Y, Z. Now I have those main learnings and I can step out of the exercise. So all sorts of powerful things can come through here. Of course, you need to be open to it and expect that this is going to work, so that the subconscious mind allows you to tap in. And I mentioned in the beginning that you can do it in the positions, but you can also do it in writing. So this would be another form of, or could take another form of, automatic writing, where I would just grab my notebook and I would start to write, dear, let's do another example. Dear, an aspect of myself. Dear fearful Freddie. Dear fearful Freddie. And I would write down from Sarah Small's perspective, all the things I want to ask or say, or maybe I'm angry or I'm pissed at this aspect of myself and like, why are you so fucking afraid? And I would write all that. And then I would turn the page, fresh page, and I would allow the messages to come through from this, what did I call it? Fearful Freddie perspective. Dear Sarah, here's what I need you to know. I'm just trying to protect you. I'm just trying to keep you safe. I know I'm really annoying sometimes, but X, Y, Z, okay? And then I could go back and forth as many times as I needed. And then I would turn the page again, and at the end, I would, from that observer role, just simply ask, or maybe even write on the top of my page, what are the takeaways or learnings from this experience today? What are the main learnings, main takeaways? And I could do that as bullet points, or I could let it be a paragraph. It doesn't matter. It doesn't actually have to make perfect sense. It's more just of an opening of communication, and at the end, we want to be able to have at least a few nuggets to be able to learn from. In meditation, it's very similar to the positions, but you just aren't moving. So I like to feel a shift in energy by moving my actual physical body, but if that doesn't feel good for you for any reason, you could just sit in your meditation and consciously choose to, in your mind or out loud, speak from the perspective of Sarah. and you might even like see, you could visualize this in your mind's eye. Since you're not moving, you could imagine, and your eyes are closed the whole time, you could imagine like, you know, Sarah's here, and then let's use a third example. So this time let's talk to the energy of money. And so here's money, and money's takes on whatever visual form you want it to as you're in meditation and just visualizing in your mind's eye, and they're having a conversation, and then you, from your higher self third eye perspective, can look and gather. So very similar, you just, it's kind of more of a, the movement is happening in your mind's eye, visualizing, versus you actually moving on whatever space that you're, or in any space that you're in for this exercise. And then I'll be so curious to know what your takeaways are. What do you receive as you open up this channel of communication? Because it is so fucking powerful to now be able to tap into resources that you maybe thought were once unavailable to you that are very much available to you. One more thing, because I know a lot of people in this community have issues with chronic illness, autoimmune, physical symptoms. I didn't use that as an example, but I want you to know you can use that as an example. So you could talk to disease, and that's very powerful. I could sit here and be Sarah, and then I could sit over here and I could be fibromyalgia, I could be celiac disease, I could be those nagging fucking headaches, like whatever it is, and you're allowed to be angry about it and feel any certain way, and you could use it for a physical symptom or for a diagnosis as well. So again, the opportunities here are kind of endless, but I again am excited to see what comes through opening those channels of communication.